What's going on, guys, and welcome to episode 480 of #AskGSM here today for Wednesday, February 8th, 2023. I am Graham GSM Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well and having a great week so far. If you want to send in a question to the show, you could do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the #AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews. Drop a comment on the post I usually put up on Tuesday nights, if not on the wall itself. Last but certainly not least, drop your question down below in the comment section on this very video. I'll include your question in next week's edition. Let's get right into it, starting with No L from YouTube. Their first question was, what did you think of Toxic Attraction's breakup segment on NXT? The segment itself was well done, obviously a nod to the old barbershop segment with Shawn Michaels turning on Marty Jannetty over 30 years ago. Right down to the super kick, and instead of throwing her through a window, she threw her through a door, even though the door didn't break initially. The fucking kick that Jacy Jayne landed on Gigi looked brutal, though. So the segment and the breakup itself, I thought, like, the angle was well done. And they even teased challenging Bayley, because the whole thing was, going into the segment, and I wrote about this in my NXT review that should be up shortly, going into the segment, I'm thinking, okay, there's got to be a reason why this is closing the show. They want you to think they're breaking up. I don't think that's the route they'll actually do. So why are they closing the show with this? You can kind of tell, like, halfway through the segment, when they were like, oh, we both need someone that can understand us and whatever. And you think, and I thought the idea was, okay, they're talking about each other, but maybe a long shot is Mandy Rose comes out and she gets them back on track. Now, Mandy Rose was only fired less than 2 months ago. I didn't think for sure she'd be back. I mean, I do think she will be back at some point, maybe as soon as this year, later on in the year. Probably by the end of 2023 was my prediction a couple of weeks ago. I didn't think she would definitely come back here. I held out hope for a long shot of the possibility of her returning. Unfortunately, that did not happen. So then I'm thinking, okay, if it's not Mandy Rose, maybe it's the fact that, I mean, I don't know that it needed to close the show, but maybe it's the fact that Gigi and Jacy, after teasing going after Damage Control's WWE Women's Tag Team titles, they'll attack Bayley, and then they're main roster bound. It's like, okay, this is their send-off from NXT. But not even that happened, unfortunately. They were back on the same page. They teased that, and then Jacy attacked Gigi. I'm not a fan, personally. I saw a lot of people saying, oh, Jacy Jayne can be a breakout star. Maybe she will be. Jacy's come a long way as a performer since she joined Toxic Attraction. A year and a half ago. I know Gigi said, oh, these last 3 years. Like, what fucking 3 years are you talking about? The only time that these three women have spent together, or I mean, I guess these two, but, Mandy Rose as well, they only joined forces back in late 2020, or 2021 rather, like in September or October. So they were only together for not even a full year and a half. So I don't know what the fuck Gigi was talking about. Oh, we've been together for 3 years. I'm not sure how that math adds up, but anyway, yeah, so here's the thing. I think Jacy Jayne can do well on her own, as can Gigi. I'm a bigger Gigi fan personally than I am Jacy, although both of them are good. I just don't understand the logic behind breaking up one of your only women's true tag teams, one of your true women's tag teams in NXT, to pursue singles paths when it's not necessary. NXT is a very deep women's division. They have Tiffany Stratton, Roxanne Perez as the champion, Zoe Stark, Indy Hartwell, who's likely on her way up soon. Even Sol Ruca is rising in the ranks right now. She's really impressive. Nikita Lyons isn't my cup of tea, but she's someone that they were high on before she got hurt. There's a lot of women in that division that they're focusing on at any given time. Cora Jade being another one. Wendy Chu, again, not a fan of the gimmick, but she's a good worker. They have a lot of women in that division that they're focusing on at any given time. I don't see how Gigi, and I mean, specifically Gigi, if she was the one who got betrayed, that tells me that Jacy's the one they're going to focus on. I just can't really see Gigi. I can't see Gigi Dolan as a babyface on that roster. I mean, the main roster is lacking women's tag teams right now. The idea was, a couple of months ago, reportedly, was that they were going to get called up to the main roster without Mandy Rose, which would have been dumb, but at least they would have been a team on the main roster, challenging for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. SmackDown could certainly use them. Raw could use them. They would have injected some new blood into that roster. They were main roster bound after already holding the NXT tag team titles and whatnot. I don't understand the move. I really don't. I'm not saying they can't be anything on their own. I don't see them doing well on their own in the current climate of that NXT women's division when they already have so many women. Are they going to get called up soon? I mean, one of them? I mean, even then, would Jacy Jayne really get a meaningful push on her own in either Raw or SmackDown? I mean, maybe, but they work so well together. And I don't agree with the mindset, oh, they're not the same without Mandy Rose. Is the act not the same without Mandy Rose? I mean, literally, no, it's not, obviously. But they still work very well together. They're great partners. They have great chemistry. They work off each other exceptionally well. It still works as a tag team. They don't need to be a faction. You're not going to plug someone else in there. That'd be dumb. They could be on Raw or SmackDown right now as a tag team, challenging for the tag team titles that have not been fucking defended in nearly 2 months. I mean, this is ridiculous. So, no, I was not a fan of the move personally. Maybe they'll exceed expectations on their own. I hope they do. But I just feel like breaking them up now before they could even get to the main roster as a tag team was a premature and just a short-sighted move, in my opinion. No second question. What did you think of the Paul Heyman and Cody segment on Raw? Absolutely loved it, as everyone else did. Just a fantastic segment. Paul Heyman, Cody Rhodes, a just masterclass in storytelling. Both of them are phenomenal promos, but putting them in the ring together, acknowledging their history, Dusty's history with Paul, Dusty's history with Roman Reigns, how that connects to Cody. All of it was great. My only one criticism, my only nitpick of that segment was that I really hope they did not peak too early, because we're still 2 months out from WrestleMania. If this is more of what we can expect in the road to WrestleMania, then fuck yeah. But I really hope they didn't give away their best material 2 months out from the event. But I think the idea of kind of getting the Rhodes and Reigns rivalry started early as opposed to waiting until after Elimination Chamber for after Roman very likely should beat Sami Zayn. I think starting it early is very smart because you want to get the most out of this feud. If Cody's going to be the guy to beat Roman Reigns, this has got to be a big story that lasts a couple of months. And it's going to. They're starting now in early February, late January for when Cody won the Rumble, and it culminates at WrestleMania. That is a full road to WrestleMania's worth of a big-time feud. So I love that a lot. The promo itself was great. I hope we get more of that between now and WrestleMania. And both guys play their roles remarkably well. That last line from Heyman was great. Cody's last line to Heyman was great. All of it was just beautiful television. Hopefully we can get more of that on Raw and SmackDown, maybe, on the road to WrestleMania from those two guys, and Roman Reigns as well. I'm looking forward to the eventual Cody-Roman face-off. We haven't gotten that yet. Cody only mentioned Roman for the first time in a promo last Monday on Raw, and now we have yet to see them actually interact. And when they do, it's going to feel like a big deal, because they held out, they didn't just blow it off on the day after the Royal Rumble. They're waiting until after Elimination Chamber, after Roman wraps up his rivalry with Sami Zayn. I like that a lot. Micah does it. His question was, and he also mentioned, by the way, that he lives in San Antonio. He was at the Rumble, Section 110, next big show that they have there. Would be cool to meet up, whatever. I was actually in the press box, and I'll say this quickly. And getting to the Rumble at the Alamo Dome outside is I don't understand how anyone could know where to go when they got to that arena, because at least for me anyway, because I had my equipment with me, I had my laptop, camera, stuff like that. Alexis and I got there, and we can't go through the regular security line because they don't fucking get it. I honestly literally asked, I asked 3 people that worked there that were standing around the building in golf carts, driving the opposite direction from me, which was annoying. Where do we have to go for gate whatever it was, gate 4, which was the media entrance? And nobody fucking knew. It's like, don't you people work here? I don't understand that. So they were not helpful at all. The arena on the outside was not great. There were train tracks separating the parking lot from the arena. It was very fucking confusing. So, not a big Alamo Dome fan. When we got inside, it was fine, but the outside of it was a confusing mess. But anyway, I'm glad you had a good time at the Rumble. His question was, what do you think of Chelsea Green's Karen gimmick? Do you see it getting over with fans or getting people annoyed very fast? I said this, I think, yesterday on not on hashtag, but on WWE Network and Chill. I think she's actually going to be a good fit for this character. I was very skeptical when I first saw that from Fightful, when they reported, Chelsea Green's coming back with a Karen gimmick or whatever. I'm thinking, oh god, that sounds so fucking dumb. It's one of those things where with WWE, they try to take something that's topical and incorporate it into a storyline, and they fail miserably. It's only been a week, but I think she plays the character very well, and I will be honest here, I think that's probably the best use of Chelsea Green. I think bringing her in to be like a threat in the women's division as a serious character, like she was in Impact, probably not the route to go, because they already have so many women like that. There's already so many women on Raw and SmackDown that they've brought in, brought back, brought up, whatever, that don't have anything to do. And a lot of them, I love pretty much all the women that Triple H has brought back. Aside from Nia Jax, unless Nia Jax isn't back yet, which the report was that she isn't, Unfortunately for her, I guess. Fortunately for us, she's not. But otherwise, like Candice, Mia Yim, Tegan Knox, all these women, great talent. A lot of them have nothing going on right now and have no real semblance of any real character. They're just kind of themselves, which worked in NXT. For some of these women, they need more than that to get over on the main roster. Chelsea Green, by playing the Karen character, I mean, she can't be losing in 10 seconds every week. I mean, she did, the Asuka match wasn't 10 seconds. It was a couple minutes, but she pretty much got squashed. She can't be doing that forever. It might have a short shelf life, but for now, I think it works. She plays that character well. I would take that over the serious, boring character she was in Impact and early on in NXT, and then whatever the fuck she was doing as the hot mess. I honestly am in the minority. I'm in the minority of people who did not like the hot mess character from Impact years ago, where she was acting all crazy and shit. I thought that shit was awful. Personally, I did not like it at all. So if she's doing a mixture of the two characters where she's crazy but not like wearing distorted makeup and stuff, and she's wearing a wedding dress, and not that she would wear a wedding dress, but you know what I mean, because that's what she was doing in Impact years ago. I actually like that a lot, so I think she's a good fit for the character. She's not coming in to be pushed right to the top of the division. I'm not even really sure if I want to see that anyway. So using her in this role and making it meaningful, so she's not like... Honestly, Emma's a perfect example of someone they brought in and is literally just a jobber on that show. No real character. She's just an enhancement talent. Chelsea Green, so far, has been an enhancement talent, but they're doing it in a meaningful way where she's getting a lot of television time out of it. So I like that a lot, actually. And I think she plays the role very well. Nike only, their question was, I saw on social media that Logan Paul signed a deal for his Prime Drink Company to be the official drink for UFC. Congrats to him, but my question is, have you tried any flavors of the drink? And if so, if you haven't, will you try it, he asked. Will I try it? Maybe. Funny story, though. So SummerSlam weekend last year in Nashville, I was actually at the stadium the day before SummerSlam doing media stuff, and I got an interview with Logan Paul at the arena. So he was at the arena the day before practicing his match with The Miz. And not just like he was training and whatever, but they were literally practicing the match. And they were rehearsing the match, I guess is the right word, because they weren't just in there taking bumps. They were literally going through the entire fucking match. And it was like me, it was RJ, it was another media guy, and then pretty much everyone else. There were probably 10 people in that room. It was me, RJ, one of the PR people for WWE that brought us in there. They had another media guy. And then they had Logan Paul's people, like a couple of his, close friends or whatever. Maybe 2 or 3 of his people. The Miz. Maurice was not in there, but Miz was. Gregory Helms, who was helping them through the match. Maybe one other person, but I know those people were in there. So we were very honored to even be in that room. Obviously, we didn't spoil the match outcome. It was pretty obvious Logan Paul was winning. We knew AJ was going to come out and all that other sort of stuff. It was fucking surreal. Super, super sick. We got to meet Logan Paul, met The Miz afterward. He was cool. Took a picture with Logan, took a picture with Miz, whatever. So the point of the story is this, is that after the match, they gave Logan his drink to drink after they were done rehearsing. And they offered, I'm almost positive they offered me one. I didn't have it. RJ took it, and then the other media guy had one as well. I think RJ had the whole thing. I mean, you can ask him. He can elaborate more on this. I think he said it was good. He said it was a pretty good drink. So, no, I did not try it. The thing with me is that I'm not a big energy drink person. I didn't want to drink it and then not like it and then just completely waste the rest of it. But it was pretty cool that they even had that and they were giving it to us to try. That was pretty cool for completely free of charge. That was awesome. No, I did not try it then. Will I try it at some point? Probably not. Again, like I said, I'm not a big energy drink person, but, maybe at some point. Depending on what it tastes like or whatever, maybe. I don't know. I'm up until fucking the wee hours of the morning, and I'm up early sometimes and stuff like that, and I could probably use an energy drink, but for whatever reason, I just don't drink them, so I don't know. Maybe at some point, and if I do, I'll let you guys know. Next question from Billy on YouTube. Graham, apologies for not sending in a question for the last couple of weeks, but he said, can you see a situation where Sami Zayn is to be put into the title match with Cody and Roman at WrestleMania, like we saw with Daniel Bryan, like we saw with Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30? Could I see a situation where that happens? Maybe. I mean, anything can happen. Do I want it to happen? Absolutely fucking not. And I talked about this last week. I talked about it on the WrestleRant radio. I talked about it everywhere, really. I am not at all a fan of doing that. The story is Cody and Roman at WrestleMania. The story at Elimination Chamber is Roman and Sami Zayn. I mean, I'll keep this brief because I can go on for a while about this. I'm sure we'll talk more in depth about it tomorrow with RJ on WrestleRant Radio, because he's of a different viewpoint as far as extending the Sami story until WrestleMania. I mean, he has a slightly different viewpoint on it than I do. I don't agree at all with putting Sami Zayn in the match of Mania. If Cody Rhodes wasn't around, if Cody Rhodes wasn't in WWE, if he was still hurt, I would say yes. Give Sami the WrestleMania match. But Cody is around. Cody is the guy. And that's not to say, all right, just give Cody the belt because he's going to be the guy and Sami Zayn's not. Listen, they gave Kofi Kingston the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 35. Was he the guy? Absolutely fucking not. The difference there, though, is that they had 2 titles back then. That also did not headline the show. Daniel Bryan did headline the show. I could see Daniel Bryan being more of the guy for WWE than Sami Zayn. I love Sami Zayn. You will not find a bigger Sami Zayn. I mean, you will find bigger Sami Zayn fans than me, but Sami Zayn's awesome. I've always been a big Sami Zayn fan for the last 10 years since he arrived in WWE. I didn't follow him in Ring of Honor, but I've always been a big Sami Zayn fan. The thing with me is that the Sami Zayn stories, I've said many times on Twitter, is not about the championship. And maybe to some people that's why it works, because it's not about the title. Sami Zayn even said on SmackDown, I was not focused on the championship until after what happened to the Rumble. Cody Rhodes wants that championship. That, to me, should be the main prize in the program. The World Championship. That's what everyone wants. Cody Rhodes wants it. He's also going to make it personal with Roman Reigns, as we saw on Monday's Raw with him and Paul Heyman. That's not to say it's going to be completely about the championship. But Cody Rhodes is the guy that should be champion for an extended period of time coming out of that pay-per-view. Whoever beats Roman Reigns first, to me, has got to be the guy. Has got to be cemented and really benefit. Could Sami Zayn benefit and stay at the main event level? Honestly, no, I don't see it. I don't want to see someone beat Roman Reigns and only get a short little run as a main eventer for a couple of months before they lose it and then move on, and then it's back to the mid-card with them. Cody Rhodes, to me, if he beats Roman Reigns, will stay at the main event level. Sami Zayn, I don't see it at all, even if he wins the World Championship. I'm not saying he can't be World Champion at some point down the road. I'm not saying that at all. For this particular circumstance, and even adding in Sami Zayn will get Cody Rhodes booed. That would be dumb. People already wishing boos upon Cody Rhodes is so fucking stupid to me. And I've had a lot of weird interactions with people on Twitter in the last week saying, oh, no one cares about the Cody story. Sami Zayn's the hot guy right now. I mean, I'm not sure what fucking shows you're watching, but at the Rumble, the next night's Raw, or Monday's Raw last week, and then Monday's Raw this week, Cody was one of the most over people in the entire show. So I don't know what shows you're watching as far as people not caring about Cody Rhodes. This is not the Royal Rumble 2014 or 2015 with Batista winning and Roman Reigns winning and all that other shit. This is a situation where it makes total sense for Cody Rhodes to be champion, to be the one to beat Roman Reigns. Sami Zayn's story, like I said, and I'll wrap it up here, is not about the world title. To me, it's about him finding family. The Roman stuff is an extension of the feud. The feud the entire time has been with Jey Uso. That really is the person he's had the biggest storyline interactions with for the last 6 to 8 months. It's Jey Uso. So him beating Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso at WrestleMania after Jey hopefully turns on Sami in Elimination Chamber will make that, match, make that title win for Sami and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania that much bigger. And to say, oh, no one cares about the tag titles. The fucking tag titles that have been on the Usos for almost 2 years now, I mean, to say no one cares about that is ridiculous. They defend them almost every other week. They've been great champions. The Usos are wildly over, as is the rest of the bloodline. I mean, this is the most important the tag titles have ever fucking felt, honestly. Sami and Kevin have never had the tag team titles together in WWE. They've never been baby faces together. I mean, this is a massive moment. I mean, to what? I mean, if you're going to make the argument, oh, they're not a real team, who gives a shit? I mean, what other team is going to realistically beat the Usos? DIY is not getting back together anytime soon. That might be the only option. You're not putting the belts on the Profits. You're not putting the belts on Judgment Day or Los Lotharios. It's got to be Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. They've never had a tag team title reign. Maybe they won't be in the tag team title picture forever. They probably won't be, obviously. But, for the time being, it's great. It's going to be a great WrestleMania moment. I mean, that's always been the end game to me. Kevin and Sami winning the tag titles at WrestleMania. Sami is very over. He will still be over, I'm sure, unless they completely fuck up his booking. And maybe, honestly, he could be the one to beat Cody Rhodes for the World Championship down the road. Later on in 2023 when Cody Rhodes is a heel or whatever. If he's getting booed then cool. If he's not, then keep him a babyface. But he's not being booed now, so why would you turn him heel? This is not 2014 with Batista. Batista was over, but his story was not interesting. Him and Randy Orton was a completely dud of a match on its own. No one gave a fuck about Batista versus Orton alone. They wanted Bryan in the picture, and Batista was the wrong guy to face Orton in Mania. So and also Batista worked a lot better as a heel. Cody's a great babyface. He's an amazing heel, but he also works amazingly well as a babyface. He's super over. He didn't get booed to the Rumble like Batista did. They had to turn Batista heel, and they turned a negative into a positive by having Bryan win the title at WrestleMania. That's not what this is. This is not WrestleMania 30. It should not be WrestleMania 30. It does not make any sense. So, stay the course with Cody Rhodes. Stay the course with Sami Zayn. Stay the course with Roman Reigns. And I think everything will work out just fine, as we've seen so far. Let's see. Next couple of questions come from Twitter. First one being at Iwagu91. I think this was their first question here. Yeah, it was. Okay. Because I haven't put up the document yet, as I usually do. Haven't had time. So, anyway, his question was, would you have loved to have had the Briscoes compete in AEW? Of course. I mean, I'm not really... Unless you just really didn't like the Briscoes as a tag team, or Jay Briscoe specifically for past comments he's made, I'm not sure why you wouldn't want to see them in AEW. Them mixing it up with the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros and the Hardys and teams like that would have been fucking sexy. So, it's a bummer that only now Warner Brothers is having a change of heart. Like, oh, I mean, it's better late than never, don't get me wrong. But it really is sad it took Jay Briscoe dying to get Mark Briscoe on TV. It really should not have come to that at all. They should have been on television a fucking year ago. And listen, what he said was disgusting, and he shouldn't have said it, obviously, but he's made amends. He was forgiven by a lot of people. He was genuinely sorry. He apologized a lot. He was very open with that sort of stuff. And that was over, it was a decade ago. And they were still like, no thanks. We don't want you on the show. And even still, they've had a lot of people on their show on Dynamite, and even on the network itself, this dumb slap fight show hosted by Dana White. That's far worse than anything that Jay Briscoe has done in the last decade. Or his situation alone. They had fucking someone who robbed a bank on the show. I mean, you can argue, which is worse. What's the guy's name? Nick Gage was on the show. Granted, he's not signed, but he was still in the main event of the fucking show in a death match. I mean, give me a break. They just did a Dark Side of the Ring about him, like right before that, about how he was not such a great person. So I don't really understand that at all. But yeah, it would have been great to see the Briscoes in AEW. It's a shame we didn't get it, but at the very least, at least they were in Ring of Honor when they were bought out by AEW, so they got to have those matches with FTR. That's an amazing way to go out. Just a tremendous trilogy of matches from those three teams, or from those two teams in those three matches. At Reborn again, I'll be all over the place here. John's first question was, so Vengeance Day sure provided that old takeover feel, didn't it? The crowd was a lot hotter than I expected as well. What did you think of the card as a whole? I thought it was a pretty good show. I thought that, the entire show didn't have that takeover feel. I think only the opening match had that between Dijak and Wes Lee. Nothing else on the show really reached that same level. That was an amazing opener. The rest of the show was good, though. I thought the women's title match was good. The main event was solid. The tag title match was fun while it lasted. The Fatal 4-Way tag team match. What else did we have? There were 6 matches, but I thought the overall card was good. Hayes and Cruz had a very well-wrestled 2 out of 3 falls match. The show stealer was Lee and Dijak. But it's just so good to see NXT back in a full arena again. It's not the first time NXT's been back out on the road since 2020, 2021 or whatever. It would be 2020 because 2021 we were in the midst of a pandemic. And they didn't go back out on the road after that. But I think the first show they technically had back on the road was last year's Stand and Deliver show. I was at that show. It didn't have as big of a feel. It was a very good show. I really enjoyed Stand and Deliver last year. But I don't know, even half of the arena wasn't even full. They didn't sell a lot of tickets to that show. It looks like, from what I could tell, the arena that they were in for, Vengeance Day, it maybe fit less people. I don't know, but it looked a lot better on television than the Stand and Deliver show did. They only had to shoot half of the building for Stand and Deliver. They literally moved my tickets. I didn't buy tickets. I got tickets from the company, but I had tickets like on where the hard cam is. We all had to be moved, and they moved our comp seats to the other side, because they weren't using that one side of the building because they didn't sell tickets to it. They didn't sell enough tickets. So people, if they didn't do that, people would have been scattered and it wouldn't have looked good. It wouldn't have looked good at all. So I thought Vengeance Day, the crowd came off great. It looked very good. The overall show was good. Hopefully Stand and Deliver this year can capture that in Los Angeles, and we can get a similar feel for that show. They can put together a big card. We'll probably never get those takeover vibes back from 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. We'll probably never be able to go back to that, unfortunately. That was just lightning in a bottle, and it is what it is. But what we got now is a fine consolation prize. And if we can get more shows like that from NXT like we got on Saturday, then I'm content, because I thought that was a fun show. And it definitely helps. That bigger crowd and that atmosphere definitely enhances my enjoyment of these events far more than if they're in the fucking Capitol Wrestling Center or the NXT Arena or whatever they're calling it now in Florida. At Iwagu91, going off that Briscoes question, he asked, do you consider the Briscoes and FTR each other's greatest rivals? For FTR, yes. I mean, I've seen all of FTR's biggest matches since they got together in 2014. I've seen them all. Of all the matches they've had, I mean, they've had a lot of amazing matches. The New Day matches in WWE were really good. They had 2 amazing matches with the Young Bucks. But the Briscoe matches beat those. I thought the Briscoes matches were the best of FTR's career. The thing with the Briscoes, I haven't seen the Briscoes' entire run. I started watching Ring of Honor 13 years after they, started in Ring of Honor. So they may have had some great matches from 2002 to 2014, 2015 that I wasn't watching for. In the time that I was watching, the Briscoes had great matches with the Bucks and the Machine Guns and SCU or Addiction, whatever. Teams like that. So I would still, of the matches of theirs that I saw, the Kingdom as well, I would say yes, FTR were easily their greatest rivals, but I can't speak to their entire career because I wasn't watching in the 2000s, so I can't speak to those. But from what I saw, yes, FTR is their greatest rivals, and the Briscoes are easily FTR's greatest rivals. Let's see, and that's amazing too when you consider that they didn't really have a feud. I mean, they feuded on Twitter, and they put up a couple of videos about it, but they didn't even feud on television. It was really just 3 matches because the Briscoes could not appear on AEW television. So they had to do it entirely through videos on the internet, through tweets, and just having matches on pay-per-view. That's pretty remarkable. His next question, what are your dream matches for Kota Ibushi now that he's a free agent? Doing something in AEW, really anything in AEW would be cool. Anything with Kenny Omega would be nice. Mixing that up again, because still in AEW, no one is kicked out of the One-Winged Angel. And no one has kicked out of it since Kota Ibushi a long time ago, I believe. So you could tell a story there, whether, I don't know if they team up, because, Omega's with the Bucks right now, but, you could do something with Omega and Ibushi. Really, anyone in AEW, I think, would be a great opponent for Ibushi. I don't really know what Ibushi dream matches. I mean, I haven't followed Ibushi's entire career, so I can't say. I'm not even also completely aware of everyone in the wrestling industry from New Japan and the indie scene and stuff like that. I do know that I think Ibushi's first major match since becoming a free agent is happening at GCW Mania weekend, I believe. Him and Speedball Mike Bailey, who I've talked about before. You've asked me about him. He's great too. I know him from Impact. If we're going to get Kota Ibushi and Mike Bailey, I might have to watch that match. GCW, I'm not a fan of at all, but I might have to find that match and watch it because that sounds like it should be just awesome. I could see Meltzer already giving it 6 stars. I'll be busy WrestleMania week, and I won't be at that show, not that I would want to be, but I'll have to check it out after the fact, because that sounds amazing. John's next question, what are the chances Bryan Danielson cost MJF his match against Takeshita? I ask because Danielson isn't likely to beat MJF at Revolution, and they'd have a ready-made match for April or even Double or Nothing. I don't think Takeshita's facing MJF in a Double or Nothing pay-per-view. I love Konosuke. I don't think he's at that level yet where he should be getting a world championship match on pay-per-view, because he obviously would not win. Yeah, honestly, but I was thinking about that too. I'm thinking last week, they don't have champions get beat often. It's not as if MJF is undefeated. Honestly, I would not be upset at that at all, because it's an eliminator match. Honestly, they could even do it before. They would probably do it before Revolution. I don't think they would wait until after Revolution, because Revolution's in a month. So they have time. I could see Takeshita beating MJF tonight and then building up a title match for like next week or the week after. Would he win? No, it would make it even more obvious. I would wait until after the pay-per-view as well, like the post-pay-per-view edition or whatever, or even stretch it out longer than that. I honestly would not be mad at that at all. They've done a lot of upsets lately on AEW. My apologies, my phone just went off. But yeah, I feel like it would be cool to see Konosuke win and then pick up this big upset and then build to a title match either next week or the week after or after the pay-per-view. He wouldn't win regardless. But yeah, like, Top Flight beat the Bucks recently. They had Action Andretti beat Jericho. It would be pretty cool if MJF lost a match via Danielson interference to Konosuke. That's a huge win for him, and it sets up a cool match for Dynamite one of these weeks. So, do I see it happening? No, but it would be cool if it happened, and I would do it personally. At noob_n_co TV, their question was, what are your thoughts on Chelsea Green and her Karen character? Because her match last night on Raw was downright laughable and embarrassing. I don't know how a second run for her in WWE will be, but I do hope Matt Cardona can come back to WWE soon. I mentioned this earlier. I think it's honestly the perfect character for her. And that's coming from someone who was not the biggest Chelsea Green fan. If it was up to me, would I bring back Chelsea Green? Probably not. I do understand the idea, okay, she wasn't given a fair shot the first time. That doesn't mean that she should be given another shot, just because I don't think in any way she an exceptional talent. But in the one area I think she really excels at is being a character. Like I said earlier, I'm not a hot mess fan at all, but I think what she's doing now, to me so far anyways, exceeded expectations. Will I be sick of it in a month? Maybe. Maybe it has a short shelf life. I'm not sure. I think pairing her up with Matt Cardona in WWE would be the way to go. Would they be able to be the same characters they are on the independent scene? Probably not. That's the issue. If Cardona's back as Zack Ryder, is just regular old Zack Ryder, that's a fucking waste to me. I mean, Cardona should just stay out of the company at that point. He would have to be a heel. He would have to be the character he is right now in the NWA and in Impact and GCW and whatever. He'd have to be doing that sort of stuff. If he's not, then it's not worth it. Maybe Chelsea Green complains for now, and then Matt Cardona comes in, and then she becomes more serious, and she joins him. That might be the right role for her. But what she's doing now, I actually like, because they already have a lot of serious women who aren't over and aren't really doing anything. She would just be another body on the roster. Babyface or heel doesn't matter. So giving her a character and letting people get to know her and giving her a bunch of TV time, to me, I think works, because she's also not bad in the ring. She's not great. I don't think she's amazing, but she's good enough to where I think the character works and she can get beat. I mean, she'll have to win eventually, and I think she will, but so far it's exceeded my expectations. I will say that much. Their second question, what are your thoughts on the first ever live NWA Power Show? Which wrestler do you want to see more and less of on NWA this year? For me, I want to see more of Natalia Markova. You mentioned Natalia a lot, so I kind of figured that. I believe she's made for wrestling on TV, and I want to see less of Tyrus and Mercurio. Tyrus is terrible. I can't really answer the second question. I mean, I follow NWA. I review all their shows and shit, but who do I want to see more and less of? I don't fucking know. I mean, the people I want to see more of aren't even there anymore for the most part, so their roster is largely made up of people in from WWE from like that 2009 to 2011 period. And as someone of a fan of that period, that's cool, but it's like these people peaked like a decade ago. Like EC3, Alex Riley's coming back this week, and like, what fucking decade is this? Anyway, the live Power Show, I will say, I thought was actually quite a good show. By NWA standards, I thought it was quite the good show. The Team War match was better than I thought it would be. The wedding shit, I don't really give a fuck about, but, the crowd seemed to enjoy it. The Country Gentleman, who I actually just interviewed here on the channel last week, so check that interview out if you haven't already, became the new NWA United States Tag Team Champions. That was a cool match, great moment. It was actually a very good show, and the live crowd really added to the atmosphere. Unfortunately, in typical NWA fashion, they took that and completely fucking butchered it a week later with Power this week, and the show was not good at all. It was not a good show. It was the follow-up show from last week's Live Power. They have a pay-per-view on Saturday, so it was a go-home show, and it sucked. They had a main event that went all of like a minute, and they had a TV title match that ended in a draw. So overall, not a good show of Power, not a good episode of Power on Tuesday this week. They failed to follow up on that live show properly. We'll see if they can get back on track with Saturday's show, but again, NWA, their pay-per-views are largely not must-see at all because they have like a million fucking matches, and a lot of them are more of just the same thing. They're just not very good. They're not bad, but a lot of them are just not great. So, I don't know. I thought the live Power, though, was good. I would like to see them do more live Power shows because I thought it worked out well. And, if it was a financial success, then hopefully they can do more of them in the future. Let's see. Next question from Red Devil 2011. Does the board have the power to have Vince McMahon fully removed before a sale? If so, do you think Stephanie will be back? Stephanie has stepped down twice now. I think it's unlikely she comes back. She took a hiatus, whatever, left, came back completely in charge of the company, and then left for good. Could she be back? I mean, the shit with the McMahon family is so unpredictable that it's possible. I don't expect it. Does the board have the power to remove Vince? Under the current leadership, no, because he is the board. He's the head of the board. And the only reason he stepped down the last time was because he voluntarily stepped down after being pressured to do so, which he should have at the time, and I'm glad he did. I don't think he should be back at this current point. I don't think they have the power unless these lawsuits really go anywhere, which I don't think they will. But I've also been wrong a lot before with this stuff because it always takes a left turn when we don't expect it to. I don't think Vince is going anywhere, unfortunately. But could he be removed? If more dirt comes out that really is that damning, then maybe. I just don't see that happening. Last question from @BillMeister88. Graham, help me to understand why people have turned on The Rock for not appearing in WWE. Surely people can see it's not as easy as stepping back into a ring with no training. The hate I've seen on social media is baffling. So here's the thing. With the Rock report from a couple of weeks ago from Meltzer, I mean, that is technically true. He might be in shape. People saying, oh, he's in the gym every day. How is he not in shape for a Mania match? There's a difference between being in shape and being in ring shape. There's a big difference between the two. The problem with that report, which I don't buy for a second, by the way, I don't think it's because, I'm not ready and in ring shape to do a match at Mania. That's why I can't do the match. Motherfucker, you've been teasing this match for not even a year now. It's been years. Literally fucking years. They've been teasing this match. The Rock has teased it in interviews. Roman has teased it. Rock has even included teases for it on Young Rock. I mean, to do teases for it and then not deliver is pretty shitty in my opinion. I don't hate The Rock, but I'm just kind of addressing all aspects of this report here. I don't think The Rock is not going to do WrestleMania 39 because he's not in ring shape. I mean, that's probably partially true. To me, the thing is, he doesn't want to make time for it. Does he not care about WWE? No, I don't think that. I don't think he cares enough about WWE. I don't think he cares enough about doing one more match. I don't think he cares enough about facing Roman Reigns to make it a priority. That's my thing. I feel like if it was that big of a priority, then he would have been back by now. He would have been doing he would have had the match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania last year. If it was really such a priority to him, he would have made time in his busy ass schedule to come back to do a match. I mean, he did it, 10 years ago. That was different, though, because he wasn't as busy back then. That was a different story. Right now, though, to me, it's ridiculous in that if he really wanted to do it, then he would have fucking done it. I don't hate The Rock for that. I think people hating on The Rock is silly. And listen, he doesn't care enough. It's disappointing because I wanted to see the match at one point. I still do to an extent, but I feel like the ship has sailed. The time to do it would have been this year or last year, and they didn't do it because The Rock doesn't want to come back to do it. And if he did, he would have made time to do it. It's as simple as that. And that's his own opinion. That's his prerogative. If he doesn't want to come back to do it, and he wants to prioritize doing other movies and other projects and Young Rock Season 7 and whatever, that's fucking fine, cool, whatever. That's totally fine. To me, I just think it's silly that, I don't know. If he talks so much about this match being so important to him, that to me, he would have made it a bigger priority by now. The fact that he hasn't, to me, is ridiculous. Don't pretend like you really want this match if you're not going to make time to do it. It's obviously easier said than done. I understand that. I'm not a movie star. I can't speak to this sort of stuff. But he has made time to do shit in the past. To do Jumanji fucking 5 and all this other sort of shit. I mean, a lot of these movies, which I've all enjoyed, by the way. I'm a big Rock fan, especially as an actor, too. I mean, he's not the greatest actor of all time by any means. But listen, I enjoy his movies. But instead of making Rampage, or instead of making Jumanji 2, or instead of making this other movie, or whatever, he could have been back by now doing the match. He doesn't want to, or his agents don't want him to. You got to listen to those people, I guess. I don't fucking know. And he's not going to be back. So it is what it is. I could still see him showing up in Mania to make a one-off return or an appearance, or maybe he'll have a role at WrestleMania that's not in-ring related. Maybe he'll show up in the ring but not wrestle, obviously. That's entirely possible. But I think it's time to put the idea of that match to bed and just accept the fact that it's not happening. Because, again, it's not WWE's fault at all. If The Rock wanted to do the match, if he really, really wanted it, we would have gotten it by now. He doesn't want to do it that much, so it's not going to happen. I don't blame Rock. I blame him, quote-unquote, but I'm not mad at him for that. That's his prerogative. It is what it is. And that's going to do it, guys, for episode 480 of #AskGSM for Wednesday, February 8th, 2023. Thank you guys, as always, for checking out the show. I appreciate it. Be sure to, drop a comment on the post I usually put up on Tuesday nights over at facebook.com/Graham.Jason.Matthews. For any comments you want me to answer in next week's episode, tweet me on Twitter at WrestleRant with #AskGSM, and find me here on this channel in the comment section down below. Drop your question in the comment section. I'll include it in next week's episode. And, that's about it, guys. So, Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Back with episode 481 next week here, so stay tuned for that. Have an awesome one. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.